On a more abstract, theoretical note, one of the things that we talk about in urban planning is gendered spaces and how certain spaces can be gendered, either male or female or what have you, and how rural places and private places like the home are gendered female, and public places and city spaces are gendered as male. And this can be most readily seen when you talk about okay, if you polled a room of male and female students and you say, how many people feel uncomfortable when you're walking home alone at night? Pretty much all of the females raise their hands, and maybe a couple guys. But an interesting thing is that I've never really felt that. I've never really felt uncomfortable in public space, walking down the street or whatever. I don't get catcalls from guys. I don't get hit on by guys. Pretty much people just leave me alone because even before I started identifying as such, I was passing as male. And so it's really interesting to realize that I have some sort of privileges where I don't realize it necessarily. And to recognize those privileges that I do have as passing as male, even though sometimes it's very oppressive to be trans or to be genderqueer and to have people not know. A lot of times it's actually a blessing when you can go through certain spaces without having a lot of resistance. I have gender-neutral ones on campus. They're labeled as handicapped restrooms. We have a trans lady on staff, and so she was very important in getting the gender-neutral bathrooms implemented on campus. Thank you very much. When there's single-stall restrooms, I use the men's, usually if it's a convenience store or something like that. Sometimes I'll use the women's if it's more convenient. When there's multiple stall restrooms, I usually use the women's room. I'm more used to women's room than men's room. I find them more relaxing, comfortable atmospheres, I guess. Not so rush in and out, but that could just be my personal whatever. I think it's worse now to go into a women's restroom than before, even though I've always had the stares and the comments and stuff like that, because at least back then I could have said, well, I'm a girl, and that would be the end of it. Now I feel like I don't really have the right to say that because I don't feel like I'm a girl. So when people say, oh, that's the women's room, or the men's room's over there, I just have to go oh yeah, that's nice, and keep walking. One thing that I do sometimes is bring a female friend along with me and have a conversation as I'm going into the restroom, so people will see that there's more than just me and that my friend doesn't have a problem with me being there, and so I obviously must belong. That doesn't always work because sometimes people see Rachel and I think that we're two boys going into the women's room, but generally it works. On our campus we have intramural teams for different sports, and there's men's divisions, women's divisions, and there's co-rec divisions. But even in the co-rec divisions, there's requirements for a lot of the games, such as you have to have 4 men and 4 women on a team, on the field at one time, and so that's problematic. In terms of trans people, if you feel that you're unfairly or incorrectly gendered on your ID, you have the option to petition to change your gender for the purposes of playing sports. So if I wanted to play as male, I could. I don't feel, though, that I want to. I feel very much physically in between, and so I don't feel like I want to be a boy or I want to be a girl. I just want to play. I don't know why it's that hard. I guess it's based on this archaic notion that men are faster and stronger and better than girls, which is complete bullshit. But that's how it is. I just joined fencing yesterday, which is absolutely awesome. I'm pretty sure they assume that I'm male, because somebody said dude, but that could be either, I don't know, but it hasn't really come up. And I don't think that I'm going to correct them if as long as they perceive me as male. I don't think I'm going to out myself as trans, because I feel that I'm out in so many aspects of my life. Sometimes I just need to focus on doing what I want to do. And especially when it comes to sports, I don't want to be worrying about what people think I am or who's saying what. I just want to focus on my sport. So right now, there's not really a whole lot of gender division, but I'm guessing once we start competing that there will be. And we'll see how that goes. Also, the guys that are participating in fencing aren't really that uber masculine, which is awesome. None of them are really super taller than me, and none of them are like really bigger than me, and a lot of them are either gay or effeminate, which is awesome because I feel like I can, just hang out and be chill with them and not stand out too much. It's really uncomfortable for me to be in heteronormative all-male space, and all-male space in general. It's a little bit better when it's queer space. I went to a gender blender conference, and it had gendered housing for the weekend, and so I picked male because I was trying it out. And I figured it would be the safest place to try out all-male space. And it really was, because everybody that was in the male space was either gay or trans, so it was fine. My first time staying in non-queer all-male space was at a leadership conference, and that was also a somewhat safe space because it's all campus leaders who are more liberal-minded, open-minded, working with other people-minded. So none of my straight roommates had a problem with the fact that I was trans, and I was out to pretty much everybody. The one thing that was difficult was trying to find times when nobody was around so that I could shower and change and stuff like that. But other than that, nobody had a problem with it. Probably the gendered space that I feel most comfortable in. I guess mostly because it's what I'm used to. It's somewhat uncomfortable if it's heteronormative female space. It's like girls' night out and whatever. I like to do those things, but I prefer to call it vagina night out or something like that. So I feel included and but not necessarily gendered. One of Rachel's friends just got married, and I got invited to both the bachelor and the bachelorette party, which is kind of awesome. But then they ended up doing a joint bachelor-bachelorette party, which, I don't know, might defeat the purpose, but at least we didn't have to decide. So in terms of all-female space, queer female space is a lot better for me than heterosexual or heteronormative female space. But still, I'm really torn between wanting to be a part of the lesbian community and not wanting to appropriate someone else's space, because I don't identify as a lesbian. I don't feel that I'm a lesbian. I feel that I like the lesbian culture and politics and bonding aspect of it, but I don't want to feel that I'm invading something that I'm not supposed to be a part of now that I'm more on the male side. That can be tricky too. A lot of the trans people in Tallahassee are very, very male identified. And so when I hang out with all the trans guys in Tallahassee, I feel alienated somewhat because I'm a little bit more effeminate or more in between or more genderqueer or what have you. That's not necessarily the case everywhere. I have other groups of friends that I've met in different places, and I have a lot of online friends who don't identify as masculine trans guys and stuff like that. But in terms of hanging out with my people here, sometimes it's totally fine, and we're talking about, testosterone and whatever, because I mean, we are all trans, and so that's a bonding aspect, but I feel that they experience their masculinity a lot differently than I do, which can be a problem. In conclusion, I would say that just straight up, all queer space is the best space. I don't like to have to make decisions, I don't like to have to choose, and I just want to be. Alright, see you guys later.